soon,
Okay,
and we will talk about all other exciting stuff like how to recruit, how to double your rank advancement, and quadruple your recruitment. So I'll see you guys soon. Tish, back to you. Well, I think I'm introducing Chris, I guess, right?
That's okay. Hi there, everybody. I'm Christy Goodman, and I am a company vice president here at Park Lane, and I'm super excited to be introducing our next speaker of the afternoon, which is Division Leader Amber Glaze, who is going to be sharing on deciding to reframe your story.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amber Glaze, single mother, former morning radio personality, network marketing novice, and Park Lane division leader and enthusiast. Not bad for a girl who didn't even know Park Lane existed 9 months ago. When I was asked to share the virtual stage with these other incredibly smart, successful women, I felt truly honored, instantly grateful. I am for the opportunity to step into the woman I know I'm meant to become and am rapidly becoming. This moment, sharing my heart and innermost thoughts with all of you, this is a moment I have been preparing for my entire life. I said yes. I said yes instantly that day when I was asked without hesitation, then immediately called to tell my bestie the big news. I remember being overjoyed and so excited. I hung up the phone that day with a huge smile on my face. I set the phone down and then promptly began to question everything. What exactly am I going to speak about? What could I possibly teach these women? What am I going to wear? Are we sure they even asked the right Amber? In a matter of seconds, you guys, I spiraled. I went from confident and elated to completely overwhelmed by self-doubt, reminding myself, as I have done thousands of times before, that I am not the most successful, I am not the most skilled, and I am certainly not the most experienced person in the room. All of which are factual statements, by the way, so it's pretty difficult to argue with the inner voice in my head, because I'm not. I am actually not the most skilled or the most successful or the most experienced person in the room. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can relate. Because chances are, if you're like me, you can go from badass boss babe to big old baby like that. From icon to infant in 1.4 seconds flat. It is a gift, really. Well, I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one who possesses it. In fact, every person who typed a 1 in the chat just now, bravo. You've got a gift. Your inner voice is so powerful, she can convince a badass boss babe that she's really just a big old baby in the blink of an eye. That is special. That takes skill. And some of you probably find what must surely be my blatant sarcasm quite amusing, but what if I told you I'm being sincere? What if I told you that your ability to change the way you see yourself at a moment's notice is actually your greatest strength? I know it seems crazy to you, but it just seems logical to me. Is it not logical to think that if the voice in your head can take you from boss to baby in record time, that the opposite must also be true? It's the same voice, in the same head, attached to the same boss babe. And we spend years waging war against her when in reality we should be celebrating her, not silencing her. We've made the inner voice in our head our greatest enemy when in reality it should be our greatest ally. I don't know about yours, but my inner voice is a force. She is resilient. She is resolute. She is relentless in her pursuit of being heard. See, it's not the voice in my head that's the problem. It is simply the story she's telling. And get this, she only tells the story you have written for her. My life has been profoundly changed by this realization. You control the story. The story does not control you. And what's even more mind-blowing than that is you can actually change the meaning of your story anytime you wish. Today, some of you need permission to take a red pen to the story you've been telling yourselves. Some of you need permission to rip a new page entirely. Well, I'm giving it to you. Today, you're being given permission to reframe your story. And I am not talking about rewriting the past or living in a state of denial about the present. I am talking about reframing the story of your life and your business in a way that serves you. Okay, every single one of us here today, all of us, we have endured the trials and tribulations of adolescence and managed to keep ourselves alive into adulthood. Congratulations, everyone. Way to go. We did it. This means every single one of us has something in common. Regardless of our upbringing, our current successes or perceived failures, our education or economical status, the color of our skin or the color of our hair, if we've made it to adulthood, we've all endured trauma. We've all experienced loss. We've all been heartbroken. We all have a story to tell. And while we cannot go back and erase or undo the past chapters of our lives, we can reframe the way we see and tell our story. What has happened to you does not have to define you in a way that doesn't serve you. If this is all you hear of me today, please hear me when I say this. What has happened to you does not have to define you in a way that doesn't serve you. You control the story, friend. The story does not control you. Example. Type a 2 in the chat if you've ever known someone who experienced a traumatic life event, abuse or the loss of a loved one or a horrific divorce, and that became a defining moment in their life. That singular moment or experience, it seemed to just sort of follow them everywhere they went like a fog. They carried it with them everywhere. It became the story they told themselves and the story they would tell anyone who would listen. And it became their excuse. Their excuse to retreat. Their excuse to never trust. Their excuse to just stop trying altogether. Now type a 4 in the chat. If you've known someone to go through similar trauma in their life, and instead of carrying that weight with them around like a dark cloud, they decided instead to use it as the fuel that propels them toward success. They also have an excuse. It became an excuse for them too. It became their excuse to live the life of their dreams. It became their excuse to become the very best possible version of themselves. And it became their excuse to show everyone around them how to overcome trauma in their own lives. Same trauma, same excuse, vastly different stories. One tells a story of tribulation and the other a story of triumph. No one promised us a life of ease, you guys. No one guaranteed us it would be easy or without struggle. No one assured us things would go exactly as planned or even according to the damn plan at all. But I can promise you this. What has happened, what is happening, what will happen to you does not have to define you in a way that doesn't serve you. And I can guarantee you that you control the story. It does not control you. And I can promise you, you can change your story. You can change the meaning of it all whenever you're ready. It requires a few things. It requires being very intentional with the story you tell yourself. It requires learning to exchange your expectations for appreciation. It requires taking responsibility instead of playing the victim. And it requires making a decision to reframe the story. And then it requires deciding to keep deciding over and over and over again. It ultimately requires reprogramming the voice in your head to tell a story of success instead of one of self-sabotage. I am here with you today. So grateful. Finally relying on my own limitless belief in this area because I am confident in what I'm sharing with you. I know these things to be true because I am living proof. In 3 weeks, my 4-year-old son and I are moving back to my hometown to live in an apartment in my mother's basement. It is the town I was married in, the town I was divorced in, the town I lost my grandmothers and my father in, and the town I nearly lost myself in. It is a hotspot of trauma triggers for me, and I have fought against making the decision to move back for months. The voice in my head on repeat telling me that at 41 years old, slinking back home to live in my mom's basement as a single mother myself, less than a year after being publicly fired, well, that is just about as embarrassing as it gets, isn't it? If that isn't the definition of failure, I don't know what is. See, I've been allowing the story to control me. And I've been framing it in a way that doesn't serve me or anyone around me. It took me some time. I had to be very intentional of my own thoughts. I became hyper aware of my feelings, my shame. I sat with it probably for far too long. And then I reminded myself, I control the story. So I reframed it, and I would love to share it with you. In 3 weeks, I am packing up my 4-year-old and all of our belongings to go spend 6 months in our hometown near all our friends and family. I am fortunate enough that my mom and stepdad have an apartment twice the size of the one we're in now, and that they love us both enough to allow me a few months to build my business and continue my education without the stress of rent. I am thankful that I will be reminded everywhere I go just how far I've come from the empty shell of a girl who ran away from my hometown and the most abusive relationship of my life nearly a decade ago. I am thrilled to be near my teammates, and I'm ecstatic to not just reclaim my hometown, but to build an empire of strong, empowered, confident storytellers and icons there. And I'm a little bit stoked that my ex is going to be around to watch me do it. I am proof. I am proof that you can decide to reframe the story whenever you're ready. That what has happened to you does not have to define you in a way that doesn't serve you. Today, I challenge you to pay attention to the story you're telling yourself. Is it one that serves you? If it isn't, don't wage war on the inner voice in your head. She's only reading what you've written for her. Instead, trust that she is your ally, not your enemy. And give her a kinder, more triumphant story to tell. What has happened to you does not have to define you in a way that doesn't serve you. Alexa, stop. That was my daily affirmation. What has happened to you does not have to define you in a way that doesn't serve you. You control the story. The story does not control you. Today, give yourself permission to decide. Decide to reframe your story in a way that serves you.
Thank you, Amber. I had to hold back the tears for a second. Thank you so much. Okay, I have been informed to make an announcement. We have a very beautiful necklace, an iconic necklace that will be given away at the end of today's training. You will be given a code word at the end of the training to text Tisha sharing the necklace, to text to show that you were here to be entered to win this iconic necklace. So just stick around and know